Welcome everyone to another very special edition of After the Bell here on the YouTube channel for the Costi 18 Studios. And why is it so special? Well, quite frankly, my promise came to fruition. My hope came to fruition. As you guys saw last week on the channel, the Kings indeed are the Kings, as the call said on many channels, including Bob Miller's own call. They are the Kings of the NHL. They are the Stanley Cup champions. Pardon me, I'm logging into the messenger so I can answer your questions right now. Just overwhelming joy, elation, everything in my head right now. You see the championship hat. I also have to thank a friend of the show, a friend of the channel, and that is Mr. Kenji Everett at Long Beach Clothing Company, because he went to the higher-ups at Long Beach Clothing Company, his workplace, and said, you know what, the Kings are the champs, let's get these things reprinted. So, soon, very, very soon, I don't have a date on it, but when I do, you guys will know about it. Are you listening, Kings staff out there at Staples Center? They're going to reprint these things. Very limited amount. They're probably not going to go for cheap because it's such a limited amount. So, we'll let you know, but awesome that it is back. Anyway, today is probably going to be the last show that I go on and on and on about the Kings, and you know, because we've bamboozled you guys all week with the footage from Staples Center Monday night last week, the footage from the rally. We talked about it on Renegade. You know, I touched on it on Dad's when we were at Clothing Company, because I believe I had this shirt on Thursday too. But I can't explain enough how much this means to me, to the studio, to my family at home in Santa Clarita, Canyon Country. I want to thank everybody out there who has put up with me the last 3 months, and more so the people who put up with me the last 29 years of pain and suffering, I guess is the best way to put it, because, you know, Bob Miller himself said it, you know, the 45-year drought, the 45 years of suffering and anguish is over, and now we are on top of the world, us Kings fans, and 250,000 of us were out there at LA Live the other night to party hardy, and there was not one riot Thursday. Ha! There were slight shenanigans Monday night last week, I heard, but nothing that got too out of hand, unlike a certain other team here in Los Angeles. That, you know, whether they win or lose, there's rioting and chaos and mayhem and mischief. So, alright, enough of that. You all get mad at me. I wasted about 5 minutes or so on King stuff again, so, you know. Let's on to your questions. Scott Jarnigan, what'd you think of Vader's return on Monday night last week? I was happy to see Leon. I really was. It was so funny that I saw him on Raw, because when we went to when I went to Frank and Sons with Kalea to meet the Bellas and Shawn Michaels, and I actually tweeted the Bellas by the way. Because I guess Nikki was having a sleepless night the other night, and she had, you know, what to do about sleep. I said, don't worry about it. I haven't slept since I gave you guys that puck. I almost jinxed us, so I haven't slept right since the Phoenix series. I like seeing Vader. It's always cool to see Vader. You know, Vader, you know, for whatever reason, is a huge attraction. He would have been a more huge attraction here in WWE had he been pushed properly from the get. He was a monster at the beginning, and then came back, and he was almost a tame, almost lovable Vader. It's like, you're not supposed to like this guy. Vader's a killer. Vader's a machine. Vader's the guy that, you know, paralyzed the jobber, you know, from the waist down with a powerbomb once. Vader's the guy that took out Ron Simmons. Vader's the guy that took out Sting. Vader's the guy that almost killed Ric Flair. You know, he's the guy responsible for the loss of Mick Foley's left ear, I believe. No, right ear. 2/3 of his right ear is gone. Why? Matches Vader in Germany. Read the book. You're supposed to be reading it right now anyway. First chapter. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you didn't read the first chapter of Mick Foley's book, which means you're not doing your job out there in book club land. So shame on you. It's always cool to see Vader. I look forward to tonight's Raw. I've heard that Cyndi Lauper's going to be on the show. It's always an interesting dynamic when the Rock and Wrestling Connection resumes, and Cyndi Lauper was the first. So it'll be fun to see how much fun she indeed gets into on Monday Night Raw. Vinush Group Do you ever see WWE ever letting Randy Orton go? And if they do, will he go to TNA or just wait a year and go back to WWE? I talked about this. I think you and I talked about this. I'm not sure, either off or on camera, whatever it was. If WWE were to let Randy Orton go, it would be the biggest TNA signing of a former WWE superstar, arguably ever. I mean, you have the Kurt Angles, you have the Christians, you have, all those guys, on and on. Hogan, of course, but Hogan wasn't a fresh off WWE TV when he signed with TNA either. I'm talking about like the Christians, the Angles, those guys. If Randy Orton were to be fired now and sit out 3 months, he'd be back in time for, Bound for Glory. Can you imagine them having their biggest show of the year, formally inducting Sting into the Hall of Fame, and having Orton come out and kill another legend on that night? Oh my God. Immediate establishment in the other side of the war. Immediate. Because they killed the guy that they already deemed the original TNA legend. So, will it happen? Probably not, although I hear the Vin Man's not exactly happy with Randy right now and his nonchalantness toward his suspension, but, maybe we'll see rumors of the talk between the Carters and Randy Orton. You never know. Wow, I am too head colded out to read that word. Let's see. Oh, Christ almighty. Defiguerdo. God, Chris, I am sorry. God bless me for the sneeze there. Do you see Cody Rhodes holding either of the WWE World Championships this year? I mentioned this earlier in the year or last year. Yes, I do. Him, it'd be cool to see him with the World Championship, since that's I'd be cool with either, actually. I'd rather see him with the World Championship. I don't know if he's ready for the big 50-year-old championship yet, but the big gold belt would look good around Cody's waist. Calvin Hall, what do you think of Doink the Clown? Which Doink? Seriously, the Killer One played by Matt Bourne, that was the best. Once he turned babyface, it was over. Doink was never the same once he became a good guy. Doink was so good for Matt Bourne. When he went to ECW, he became born again and wore the clown makeup half the time and made a gimmick out of it in ECW, and it was great. But once Doink became a babyface, it was all one big joke, because he's a clown. Clowns are jokesters. If they're not, sharpening their teeth and dragging people into the sewer, they're funny. And even then, they're funny if you really, if you're a Stephen King fan and you like Tim Curry, which I do. Frankfurter guy. Some people don't like those clowns, though. Some people are, almost crippled by those clowns. They get really scared of those clowns. So it's and Doink was one of those killer clowns for a minute there. I'll never forget the beating he laid on Crush. But Doink nowadays, This is for, I have to break my promise already. This is not good. Nick Tennyson, do you think the Kings can win it all again next year? You guys have made me a Kings fan. That's one of the guys I thanked earlier in the show. The Kings have the world at their fingertips. They have the cup in their possession. Tim Leinwicke said it on the the factually accurate Channel 4 broadcast on Thursday for the parade, led by the Plastic Man himself, Fred Rogan. The Kings are the third youngest team in the league. They have the potential to win again. 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 They can establish themselves in a really big dynasty really quick. But like I said for the past 7 days, let's get through the summer. Let's let these guys and the staff and everybody at the Staples Center enjoy the cup while it's theirs. They're going to be Stanley Cup champions for at least a year. Come this time next year, if the finals are over and Dustin Brown is raising that cup again, then we can party again. I haven't stopped partying, truth be told. I haven't slept right in a week, but I still only had that one beer. And I shaved. Hungover. Y'all watched that one, didn't you? Yeah, it was pretty scary. Alright. Brandon Abner. Just want to know if or when Randy Orton's suspension comes back from this. Randy Orton comes back, do you think it'll be a good time of turning heel? I think WWE is in need of a top heel, and guys like Big Show, Del Rio, Bryan, and others can't pull it off as good as the Viper. I think it'd be good for WWE and Randy. What do you think? Well, anytime a guy comes back from injury or suspension, he's been gone for more than a month, he's going to get a babyface reaction. It's going to happen. But given his nonchalantness, apparent nonchalantness toward management, toward Vince, and everything about this, it may be the right time because people know he's being a punk about it. Let's make him a punk on TV again. Not the worker. Let's make him a jackass on TV again. Sorry for the language. I'd like to see a heel Randy again. That'd be cool. Bob Cook. If John needs to take time off because of the divorce, and with Randy being suspended and possibly not coming back at all, who do you see stepping up for both shows and being the top guys? The guys we've seen. Punk, Bryan, Dolph, Sheamus, Kane even right now. You know, everybody we've been seeing the last year or so that's been in the main event picture. You know, Christian's back, Cody Rhodes, The Big Show, Alberto Del Rio, all those guys. You know, they're gonna keep doing what they're doing, with or without John Cena, with or without Randy Orton, with or without, you know, main event guys that have been there for 10 years. With or without Brock Lesnar being back or whatever. Brett Phillips. I have heard that at SummerSlam there will be a triple threat between The Rock, Brock Lesnar, and Triple H. Do you think this is true, and what do you think about it? P.S. This is the greatest wrestling and discussion channel on YouTube. Thank you, Brett. I don't think a triple threat will happen. I think they're going to gouge our wallets again come New Jersey next year and save The Rock versus Brock Lesnar rematch from SummerSlam 2002 for WrestleMania 29. Triple H is a distinct possibility if he's ready to go by SummerSlam, if his elbow heals properly. You know. I didn't see the show last night, so I don't know how his elbow looks, how the, you know, whatever. So I don't know. Yes, sir.
What about doing Rock Brock at SummerSlam instead of Mania, since it would be the 10th anniversary of that match?
If The Rock's not busy filming, you know, G.I. Joe 506, I don't even know what he's doing right now. I purposely gave up paying attention after WrestleMania.
And then possibly save the Triple H match, since that's the bigger draw right now for Mania.
Well, but what if they want to do Triple H versus Undertaker Part 65? You know, because who else are they going to face? You know, they've got Cena, but that's it for the Undertaker. That's the lone mountain to conquer, and he done conquered that when he was a biker. So it's like so many possibilities with Brock Lesnar coming back. You know, it opens up a whole avenue of opportunity for WWE to seriously either make some money or seriously fall flat on their millionaire faces. Micken McMurray, do you think Chris Jericho will win a world title in WWE again? No. I don't. I hate to say it. Love Chris Jericho. Have been a Jericho fan almost from the beginning. But no. He is going to be a utility guy if he does come back again. And I think that his world championship days are behind him. Sucks, but it is what it is. Why do you think talented wrestlers like Tyson Kidd, Drew McIntyre, and other underused talents stay in WWE instead of trying to go to other organizations like TNA and Ring of Honor that will better appreciate those abilities? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much they're underused or underappreciated and everything with the way they're used in the ring. They are highly appreciated in terms of their paycheck with Vince McMahon. They're going to keep taking that paycheck as long as they can. So, that's why. And the final question, completely unrelated to wrestling, except for the fighting part. Who would win in a fight, Superman or Batman? This is from Todd Rabideau. I'm going to make Jay's dick. I'm going to say Batman. And I'll tell you why. Superman may be able to leap tall buildings in a single bound, travel fast in locomotive, go as fast as Speeding Bullet, and all that happy stuff. At the end of the day, Bruce Wayne has money to bring in that kryptonite block. Bruce Wayne has money for them kind of gemstones, baby. He can kick Superman's butt with a little Lex Luthor-style kryptonite ring in his hand. Just keep punching and punching and punching until he breaks Superman's jaw. And Superman goes down in the crumpled heat at the hands of the kryptonite-laced Batman. DC Comics, I'm looking at you. Just throwing it out there. Batman can be an effective heel if he wants to be. The Dark Knight. Yes, sir.
That's not the last question. You completely bypassed the YouTube questions that were the ones before those.
I didn't even see those, that's why. Well, I apologize. Then I will do those right now. There are a lot more on here. Okay, good. Short show. It was going to be a short show, so I'm glad Uncle Jay pointed that out. Good job there, Mr. Williams. Thank you. This is from Cam Rocks Your Socks. Cam Rocks Your Socks. God, these YouTube names. Seriously. Who do you see Mick Foley feuding with next for possibly his final run, and what last big bump do you see him taking? The last big bump Mick Foley's going to take is the one he dives onto in that pile of cash Vince McMahon unloads into his backyard for his final appearance. He ain't going to take a big bump no more. Foley's not a big bumper anymore. He's not going to do that. He's too hurt. I don't see a big feud for him. Triple H wants him off TV for some reason, so I don't see that happening for Mick. It sucks. Again, you know, Mick Foley on TV is almost always a good thing. But in a wrestling ring, in a wrestling capacity, no. He wasn't brought back to wrestle. He was brought back to be the comedic Mick Foley, the commissioner-esque Mick Foley. Let's see. The Sparta 1812. Do you think Goldust should have held the WWF Championship in the 90s? And if so, who would you like to see him feud with for it? I believe I answered this before, but I'll go ahead and do it again. Goldust should not have been the WWF Champion. Goldust came around at a time where he was very controversial at the time. He was very outlandish in appearance, outlandish in his androgyny, but I don't think him being the standard bearer for the company would have been good at the time where the WWF was getting its butt kicked by WCW. Yeah, remember, they had their top athlete as a champion, Shawn Michaels. They were still losing the war. They had guys like Brett and Undertaker and Steve Austin in title contention. They had guys like The Rock coming up and Rocky Maivia. They had, you know, Vader. They had all those guys, and they were still getting their butts kicked. Can you imagine having a sexually ambiguous WWF champion? No way. Would have killed it. Would have absolutely killed the company. Who do you think out of the original ECW should be in the WWE Hall of Fame? Well, Terry's already in. Well, obvious answer is Rob, because it's my boy. But, you know, just to throw it out there, Tommy Dreamer. Was he a Hall of Fame WWE superstar? Of course not. But if you're going to say it based on his accomplishments throughout his career, Tommy picked up ECW every time it fell on its back, carried it through to the next phase of its existence, all the way to the last night. And even shouldered on in the new ECW when even he thought it sucked.
I'd like to throw a couple other names in there.
Okay.
Paul Heyman.
Well, Paul,
obviously.
Obviously, yeah, that's true.
Raven, because Tommy wouldn't have made his name what it was without the Raven feud.
That's true.
Sandman, because neither one of them would have made their names what it was without the Sandman.
And
Sabu and Taz.
Well, if Sandman gets sober up enough to get to the Hall of Fame ceremony, I am all for that, man, because God knows he didn't do it very often. So, let's see. That was from former Meat Guy, by the way. WWE anime fans, which ECW original do you see returning to the WWE? Maybe Rob for one last run. You know, I take that back. I don't even see him returning. You know, the WWE has, you know, cast a lot of every one of those guys out into the darkness, pretty much, of independent wrestling, or in some cases TNA, without so much as an afterthought. So I don't see why they would go back, except for, like I mentioned earlier, the big paycheck. But It's like, how much are you willing to sell your legacy for that last big paycheck? Just to have one more match or, one more big run or whatever. Bad Axe Entertainment. What do you think about the Hell in a Cell match with Undertaker and Edge from SummerSlam '08? I just watched it again, and I think it was one of Edge's best matches, but I never hear anything about it. Thoughts about the match? Thanks, keep up the good work. That is a very underrated Hell in a Cell match. I've always liked that one. It's on the Edge DVD, the original Edge DVD, the, what do you call it? The,
Decade of Decadence.
Thank you. I'm battling a head cold. I have to apologize for my dipness in advance. Not in advance because it's almost over now. But, yeah. So, that's on that DVD. I believe it was too late to make the Hell in a Cell DVD originally. But, very underrated. The ending was really cool with the whole fire pit and everything. That was cool. But it was one of Edge's better matches. And it was Edge at the top of his game as the Rated R Superstar, Ultimate Opportunist heel that had lost his mind, lost his familia at the end of the day. And Undertaker just in his environment. Great stuff. Arguably one of the best ones until WrestleMania this year. This is from Lawson Ricky 12. I read an article about Ric Flair returning to WWE and they want him to manage Dolph Ziggler. If this happened, would this bring Dolph to the top of the company and him winning the WWE Championship? Well, nobody was a bigger show-off in their career than Ric Flair. What better person to manage Dolph Ziggler to the WWE Championship than the Nature Boy himself? If his contract is indeed up with TNA, or if he's out of his contract and his no-compete clause is over, could we see him soon? No. Dolph's in the world title picture right now. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me a bit. Rexo619. What did you guys think of Rob Black and XPW? I came into the knowledge of XPW late. I really did. I didn't come into the knowledge of them until later in their existence, and I only went to 2 shows live. That was their last 2 in Southern California, up until the reunions, obviously. But I liked XPW. I liked their willingness to do anything to get attention, which, when you're run by a porn company, it's going to happen. So, I admired Rob Black for his willingness to go the extra mile and to push the envelope way beyond where it ever should have been pushed, ever. And I will miss XPW full time for sure. This XPW thing, we'll see. Ishida 1017. My first question: if they put Johnny A-Hole in WWE 13, how will you destroy him? I'm not a video gamer. I'll admit that right now. I played the games on PlayStation 2 because I knew how to work those buttons. I'm not the Wii guy that we have here. I don't do the Wii very well. Well, I'll be more than happy to let JJ and Mikey just beat the crap out of Laurinaitis for me. And I'll videotape it and play it over and over again, and I'll watch it in my sleep. How do you think time is repeated with the wrestling company from WWE being on top, TNA being WCW from 98-01, and ROH being ECW, where they have great talent but don't have a good TV spot, WWE buying all their stars? Wrestling is very repetitive. It always has been. There's always the top dog, there's always the guy nipping at the heels, and there's always the top independent in the nation. WWE and WCW were the top guy at respective times. They were the follow-up at respective times, and ECW was always number 3. WCW was, either number 2 or number 1, like I said. TNA is definitely number 2 in the country right now. I wouldn't say the world, because there's some serious stuff going on in Japan right now. Japan is doing amazing things. Ring Ka Kings in India right now, they're big right now. So it doesn't surprise me. It definitely has repeated itself. History has. That from Yoda, apparently. Acadia MLS. Considering that Lesnar's record speaks against him, he jumped ship like 4 times since his first appearance in the professional sports entertainment industry. How long do you think WWE can trust Lesnar, and do you think this could play against him for the time of his current contract? And how does it feel to have your team win the Stanley Cup? I mentioned it, all week. It's pure joy, elation, just utter. The happiest I've been since my son was born, and that's not a lie. As far as Brock, we'll see what happens with Brock Lesnar in the coming weeks and months, but it wouldn't surprise me if his year deal is just that. Simply recommended. What do you think what WWE would be like if it never went PG, especially after the deaths of Chris Benoit, Owen Hart, and Eddie Guerrero? I'm not a fan of these speculative questions because, what if, well, what if Vince McMahon sprouted 20 arms and was able to wrestle an entire Royal Rumble by himself? He'd be the only guy in the roster. I think going PG definitely hurt them, but it's not killing them. The deaths of those three superstars you mentioned definitely hurt the company in different ways. Eddie, of course, was very beloved and put the company into new light regarding their light about their drugs. And then Chris Benoit's death, my God, the whole suicide murder thing was horrific for the company. Owen Hart's death cast a very big pall on them for a minute as far as pushing the envelope too far for the sake of a stunt. But the world would be a lot different if those three guys had made it to the end of their careers, and if WWE had not gone PG. All right, thank you very much for your questions, everybody, today. Hope you all endured the the craziness. It was kind of a mixed-up show. A lot of Kings talk. I didn't really want to, but I did want to. I'm not gonna lie. We will see you all tomorrow on Renegade and beyond. For now, this is Jeff Meacham, and After the Bell saying we'll see you guys next time.